On today's show, the art of palatial facial insulation. Things get hairy during Ely's Winter Festival. If you like winter birds, you'll certainly get along with this guy. Carol Henderson wrote the book, so to speak, on winter birds. And an on-ice get-together for those who like winter life on frozen lakes.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hi everybody, Bill and I welcome you to Minnesota Bound.
You know, our first story today is all about that furry winter insulation some of us grow this time of year.
It turns out not all beards are created equal. To understand, one must travel to Ely.
Yep, for Ely's Winter Festival. Every frostbitingly cold February, the town of Ely, Minnesota embraces a life of snow and perpetual cold.
Oh my gosh, this is so great.
It's so cool.
A wind chill carnival that includes this.
Getting ready for a mob of hairy people.
I like the coat, man. That's freaking sweet. Thanks. That's awesome.
Ely's Great Nordic Beard Fest celebrates man's and at times woman's need to cover part of the face with a biological cold weather coat.
It's good for the city of Ely. This is a tough time of the year for us. Brings people into town. 32 people registered to compete right now. I told you Beard Fest is chaos.
Fun for sure, but beards can be serious business.
Just, had a beard pretty much my whole life, decided growing it long, love it. Peace.
Waldo in the house.
It's just a great celebration of, this is the North, celebration of the North, celebration of winter.
Welcome one, and welcome all. Hey, it's winter in Ely, and we grow them to stay warm. But tonight we honor their ability to transform.
Hear ye, hear ye. I now pronounce opening of the 2022 Great Nordic Beard Fest.
And these are what you call mutton chops.
It's a nice week.
You might not know it, but I'm a warrior poet.
Full beard, 6 inches plus. Please come down to the front. This is Aaron Burke from Cambridge, Minnesota.
I'm Clayton, I'm representing Northwest Louisiana. Oh, yeah! Another Bayou boy.
Your card, sir. Rapids, Minnesota is responsible for this week. It's very festive.
My beard is freestyle. It doesn't have to grow a mile. Score! There once was a man from Nantucket. He's got nothing on me.
This year, first time ever, the Ladies' Choice Award. Here's your winner. Best in Show, Jake Klein. First place, Nolan Drado.
Happiness could be a trophy, no matter how cold or hairy winter life in Ely might get.
You know why
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, Strike Master, Midwest Exteriors MN, and by Ice Castle Fish House and RV.
Many of us enjoy watching and feeding winter birds. The thing is, there's a right way and wrong way to do it. That's exactly why my dad spent the day with the gentleman who wrote the bird book.
If there's a pecking order among folks who feed winter birds, this fella rules the roost. Carol Henderson knows all about bird seeds.
This is a buyer beware situation where there are lots of different alternatives for bird food, but there's a lot of it out there that the birds don't like. It's like putting out bread for the birds. That's not very nutritious, and it's the wrong thing to do.
He also knows how to write bird feeding books.
2 books on bird feeding. One of them is Wild About Birds, the DNR Bird Feeding Guide, and that's been incredibly popular. Sold almost 100,000 copies.
100,000 copies?
Yeah, and it's been used not just in Minnesota, but all over the country as a guide because it goes through all the different possibilities for what birds come to the feeders, what kind of feeds to use, and then it has 26 different designs on how you can build your own bird feeders.
Henderson, the retired head of DNR's non-game program, has written 13 bird books, including 5 titles published by the DNR.
I think the state has received probably over $250,000 in royalties on my books over the years.
More proof that it's a very popular pastime, backyard winter bird feeding.
And of course the squirrels, they always invite themselves too. Most of the birds that come to your backyard feeder are the most adaptable birds.
Henderson says while our handouts may make winter survival easier, our charitable food shelf is more about our own enjoyment.
In studies that have been done on birds, even like the chickadee, which is one of the most common birds at feeders, not more than 20% of their food comes from feeders. The rest of it all comes from wild sources. So we may think we're saving them from starvation, but birds are very resourceful, and in many ways, at bird feeders, they're nomadic. They go from yard to yard. They go where the food is. When it runs out somewhere, they're not going to sit there and starve. They go find somewhere else.
One key to successful bird feeding is dishing out the right stuff.
I found out that if you buy quality bird mixes with the quality foods, you're going to get the quality birds. Black oil sunflowers, safflower, white safflower, or now the new kind of safflower called Nutri-Saf, or what I call golden saf. Wonderful stuff.
A complete bird feeding station also offers suet.
Suet attracts a lot of birds that maybe won't go to the black oil sunflowers.
Lately, Henderson has been feeding birds an uncommon farm-grown seed in use a century ago.
What I've got here is industrial hemp. And this is the kind of hemp that was grown by farmers back in World War II. They were raising it at that time for fiber, for making rope for the war effort. And it's not going to make the birds loopy.
In my own backyard, my feathered neighbors are offered cardinal mix, black sunflower seeds, a dash of hemp seed, and a chunk of beef suet.
Birds are just so enjoyable in so many ways.
For sure. If the winter birds seem happy outside at my bird feeders, I'm happy to be inside watching.
Hey everybody, Bill Shirk, the Man About the Woods. I've had a lot of questions about a recipe people saw in an episode of Minnesota Bound. So today I'm going to give away one of my best campfire secrets. That episode, I was winter camping alone in the Boundary Waters, and I was working on breakfast. And a lot of people said, what is that? Well, it's actually a pretty simple recipe. It's a high energy, high carb breakfast that I cook to keep going all day in the winter woods. And it is simply granola pancakes. Let me show you how I make them. All right, the first part of the recipe is simply to whip up your favorite pancake mix. I use just a powder and water mix, simple enough to do. Okay, that's just about right. Now comes the key ingredient. In this case, Nature Valley granola. By the way, you can also try it with oatmeal instead, just a variation of the recipe. Now I'm gonna just sprinkle some in. Put a big dollop in my favorite cast iron fry pan out of an old abandoned trapper's cabin in Canada. Now it cooks. Looking good. Time for a flip. And that's looking just about perfect. Time to eat. So I put it on a plate, then I add syrup. Do me one favor, don't use the fake stuff, use real maple syrup. Granola pancakes, high carb, high energy. One of my favorite treats in the woods. A little something that keeps me going all day long.
Still ahead, a Minnesota-bound classic dedicated to dancing squirrels. Yep, they sure do with this gadget. But first, a cold weather get-together for cabin owners on ice.
Closed captioning provided by Star Bank.
A revolution of sorts has taken over many Minnesota lakes. Travis Frank introduces you to the kings and the queens of the ice castles.
Once upon a time, winter on Upper Red Lake looked like this. Not anymore. An icehouse revolution has turned Red Lake's frozen waters into a booming winter village. Today, this massive lake hosts one of Minnesota's largest winter get-togethers.
We are at the ICOG 4th Annual Festival, Upper Red Lake, Minnesota.
So we're probably pushing 800.
We're
now.
ICOG stands for Ice Castle Owners Group, a group of anglers that love ice fishing,
frozen,
and love their ice houses. Custom names, custom colors, and custom designs.
Here's the beauty.
That bring the comforts of home to an old-fashioned winter sport.
The fireplace, the bed drops up and down. It's a queen-size bed.
You might call this a parade of homes on ice.
It's open door policy. You can walk up to your neighbors, knock on the door.
Even with temps well below zero, traffic heats up.
We have cheesy bacon potato soup here. So hopefully with the cold, it warms everybody up.
Just checking the lines. Haven't touched them in a while.
It's nonstop laughs and literally smiles. It's kind of ridiculous how happy people are.
Brett Moeller created this on-ice get-together after he created this community online.
We're a Facebook-only group right now. I bought my first ice castle in 2014 and didn't know much about it. Had an issue with the furnace. There was no community, no group, anything that I could check on that to where I could troubleshoot. Figured, you know, what better way than to start a Facebook group, see if there's any interest out there for members getting together. And I found out that it was a massive untouched community. It just blows my mind, even thinking about it today. I thought 1,000 people was astronomical, and now we're sitting at almost 15,000. When somebody buys an ice castle, the dealers are suggesting, hey, you need to join this Facebook group. You're one of us now.
Brett sees the power in their numbers.
This year we sponsored Band of Brothers Outdoors,
a nonprofit organization dedicated to getting veterans back into the outdoors.
I'm a disabled vet, disabled police officer, got out on a hunt with them, and they just really really built me up.
This year we're hoping to raise enough money that we'll be able to provide some new equipment for our staff. We'll probably get a new hunt going on this year. We're looking at some new fishing trips, a few more hunting trips. This event is going to be very beneficial for our organization as far as allowing us to open up more events for veterans and provide better opportunities.
The get-together under the tent, we do the raffle, we do door prize drawings.
$32,300.
I feel we had the fan base to do that, and we put it to good use, and I think we found our niche.
Awesome.
An amazing community. It astonishes me all the time.
Houses that bring them together to celebrate in Minnesota's coldest winter conditions.
People are having great fun. It was 30 below yesterday.
Now, if they could just catch a fish. That will have to wait for another day.
Straight ahead, a Minnesota-bound classic all about the art of tricking squirrels. So easy to do with this invention.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Hewitt Docks, Lifts, and Pontoon Lakes, Leech Lake Area Tourism, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Today's Minnesota Bound Classic takes us back to the year 2005, to a time when Ron Sherrod discovered the squungy.
It's a gadget that forces squirrels to earn their bounty in a very entertaining way.
Backyard squirrels. Nice to have around, I suppose, if only the dang things weren't so fond of expensive bird seeds or so skilled at wrecking bird feeders. We tried to foil these birdseed thieves, but usually to no avail. Not so with Scott Schultz. He decided to, well, get even.
I thought, well, I can't get rid of all the squirrels, so I figured I'd come up with a feeder, and my criteria was I wanted them to work for the food.
Scott's working squirrel idea turned into squirrel fun.
Somewhere, I don't know where, the idea of making them bungee jump.
Behold the squungy.
Started out with just a piece of elastic, and they chewed it and stole the corn, and it progressed to the metal spring and the chain and cable, and that's how it got started.
This is nuts, said the squirrels.
That seemed to work. It gave them something to eat and kept them away from the bird feeders for the most part. It turned out to be very funny to watch.
To prove it, Scott has videoed their antics.
They're spinning, they're swinging, twirling, they do everything. They hang upside down. The squungy holds 2 ears of corn, and they sometimes hold on to one and feed off the other, or they'll hang upside down and straddle the 2 corn. If you're gonna feed them anyway, you might as well get some enjoyment out of watching them eat.
In the end, the squirrels win. They get the food, we pay for the fun. It's a nutty deal, but hey, with squirrels, what do you expect?
I remember that gadget in our backyard, and we definitely had a lot of laughs.
Did the squirrels ever eat?
Every once in a while they could get at it, but it took a lot of work.
Love it. Well, that about does it for us. We hope to see you back here next week.
In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.